I'm Mehak and I'm the co-founder of an online wedding planning portal called Wed Me Good. Now, at this point of time, I feel compelled to clarify something. It's not what it's usually mistaken for. It's not Bed Me Good. That's a whole different startup. It's called Tinder. We guys come slightly after that. But I wasn't always in this space. 4 years ago, I was doing econometric data modeling at a financial services company. So how then did I make this jump between being a statistician, which is kind of the job you come to expect after a master's in economics, to being a founder of a wed tech startup? I wish I could tell you guys that it was part of this whole game plan that I had charted out in my head, but that would be completely untrue. Here's the abridged version. So I'm working at American Express and I was getting married at the time. And I was getting married in a new city. And I just couldn't believe how hard it was to find Indian wedding content online. Even to just find a venue or a makeup artist or a photographer, it was just really difficult. And I started documenting my wedding planning journey on my personal blog. And that blog suddenly took off and it really increased in traction. And I was kind of discussing this with my husband one day, and we both did a bit of research and found that while internationally there were a ton of online portals, in India we didn't have anything like this. And so we did something a little bit crazy. Both of us, with a minimal bank balance, quit our jobs simultaneously. My mom had a mini heart attack. She's in the crowd right now. I don't think she still understands what it is that I do. No, Mom, I'm not a wedding planner. But along the way, this change gave us a few learnings. And these learnings are what I want to share with you today. My first learning is actually contrary to anything that everyone ever told me about career planning. And that is that passion is overrated. You know how every time somebody gives you career advice, they always say, find your one passion, and then follow your passion, and then suddenly work doesn't seem like work anymore. Well, here's the problem I have with that. First of all, passion is a feeling. And feelings change, feelings evolve, they fizzle out. So in school, I was passionate about design. I wanted to be a graphic designer. And then I was passionate about economics. And then I was passionate about content. So what do I really choose? And even if you are really passionate and have found that one passion, there's no guarantee that once you do it as a career, you will enjoy doing it. So while passion is a great guiding force, I think there are other things you need to look at as well. So when I was starting out, I asked myself two questions. First, will I be good at this? Can I bring some skills to the table and really add value in this field? And two, is this a problem that I care to solve about? And since the answers to both of these questions were a confident yes, we kind of took that leap of faith. And I've discovered new passions along the way. I didn't know at that time that I would be passionate about digital marketing or about just brainstorming a tech product, but I know now. So my first learning is that when you are looking at a career switch or even choosing a career, passion is a guiding principle, but don't base a sustainable career on passion and passion alone. Now, before I go on to my second learning, I have to tell you, we kind of learned this the hard way. So we had started up, right? And like most startups, we entered a VC fund who had asked to meet us. And we went in and we were super confident because we'd had a good start and we were like, we're going to kill this meeting. And we went in without any pitch presentation because we weren't from the tech space. We didn't even know you needed a pitch presentation in the first meeting. And one of the VC partners asked us at that time, you know, which one of you handles product? And we just kind of look at each other and say, I don't know, what does product even mean? Because we have an online portal. What do you mean product? Needless to say, we didn't get funded that day. But it kind of made us realize that we should have done something early on, which is my second learning, that when you do change a career, find a mentor in that career. So after that meeting, we networked shamelessly. We hit up all our LinkedIn contacts. We spoke to all our friends and family to find people who are in this new career and who could kind of give us more light into this black box of the tech industry. And slowly but surely, we kind of understood what is architecture, what is tech stack, all of these things that was just so alien to us, right? And not just when you're starting up, but even when you're looking at a new job. Let's say you're looking at changing your job to a new career. It's really important that you just meet people, because at that point of time, your resume kind of becomes a little bit irrelevant. But what doesn't become irrelevant is the skills you have. And only when you go and meet a person in that new industry will they be able to see you and the skills you can bring to that field. So my second learning is, before you start onto a career change, find a mentor. Now before I go on to my third learning, I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story. So we had started and we'd found this tech talent, right? But there was still a question of getting users onto our site. And at the time, there were other portals out there. And what they were doing is using paid ads to get users. And it actually worked really great for them. There was one problem with that though. And the problem was, we knew nothing about it. What we did know and what our strength was social media. So here's what we did. We reached out to friends and family, and we told them that we want to feature their weddings on our site, like a story. So this is what happened. Once we featured someone's wedding, they would go and share it on their page, because, you know, they like to brag that they've been featured by a portal on Facebook. And then the makeup artist or photographer who's been featured in that wedding would then share it on his page, and so on. And very soon, we had like a large corpus of visitors who were visiting us simply because they had seen it somewhere on social media. Which brings me to my third point, which is, when you are new in your industry, then play to your strengths. And it seems like a very simple, obvious thing, right? Play to your strengths. But it's amazing that when you're in this new field that you're not quite comfortable in, you end up focusing on what you don't have versus what you have. You might not be the most experienced or the most skilled or the most knowledgeable, but you will have some other strength that can add value to the table. So when you are in a new industry, play to your strengths, right? Now my fourth learning starts with a question. When we are looking at choosing a fulfilling career, what is it that we look for? And I think most of us look for these three things. We look at work we love doing, so quality of work. We look at how well it pays us, remuneration. And we look at work-life balance. Pretty much, I think, sums it up, right? Well, if you're changing a career, I'm assuming you're doing this because of that first point over there, because you think you're going to enjoy the work in this new field you're in. Then in the short term, be prepared to give up one of the other two. For us, we gave up both. We went from 20 lakh CTCs down to 2 lakh CTCs, and we still don't have a work-life balance. But there are so many people I meet who are just trapped, and they just feel so, you know, they're unhappy in their jobs and their careers, and they want to do something different. But when a new opportunity comes their way, they always reject it because they expect it to also give them a higher pay and also give them a better work-life balance. You're not going to get all three, guys. Let's be realistic. Especially in the short term when you're doing a career change, don't expect all of these three things. The only person, I think, who can switch a career and get all of these three things is this guy. And there can only be one Rajnikant, right? So make sacrifices when you're changing your career. Finally, my final learning is about knowing when you're doing well in this new field that you're in. And it's really important that you set clear yardsticks and timelines for success. For us, the yardstick was reaching 50,000 users in the first 6 months, and it was raising a round of funding in the first year. We actually met our user target. We reached 100,000, but we didn't get funded. And it was looking kind of really low when the 7th investor we met rejected us, and we were kind of down in the dumps a little bit. And I remember going into this shop. It was this tiny store in Chandni Chowk, and this bride was sitting next to me. She was shopping for her lehenga, and she was asking the shopkeeper to show her all these different things, and she wasn't liking anything. And the guy couldn't understand what she wanted. And after just being frustrated, she took out her cell phone and she showed him some reference images. And I realized at that time that those reference images were from our app. And it was at that moment that I realized that, hey, we're making a difference to people's lives here. A really small difference, but a difference nonetheless. And we knew that this is it for us. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you do set clear yardsticks and timelines, you kind of know whether you're doing well or you're not. And then you can adjust in case you don't meet that target. And your yardstick could be anything. If you're in a new job, your yardstick could be, for example, leading a project independently. Or it could be giving a really, really valuable suggestion that's then implemented. So have any small yardstick, but keep a yardstick so that you can evaluate yourself. Finally, I just want to say to everybody who might be starting out careers, if you're anything like how I was when I was taking my first job, I was apprehensive and I was confused, and we kind of tend to think that this job is going to define what our career is going to be. But your job does not define what your career is going to be, at least your first job does not. It's simply a stepping stone to identify what your career may or may not be. At the end of the day, finding a fulfilling career is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Thank you, guys.